Hi everybody, I hope everybody is doing really well as things get very weird. In this video I am going to discuss with you on how the New World Order and this great reset, this new world that they want to build, is going to happen and how they're going to do it and how they're creeping up towards it. And I'm going to also discuss, and this is just speculation, it's just my view on how I see it and how it might end up. So it's not pure like it will actually happen. You know, I'm not a psychic or anything. It's just It's just based on what I've looked into and what I think could happen with current events in the start of 2022 and where it's going to lead up into the New World Order. And then after that I'm going to discuss what the New World Order will be like, what life will be like, and how it will be. Give you the picture of what I think the New World Order will be like. And it's based on a range of things. So yeah, this is a bit of a different video to my last two that I've done. So I hope you enjoy. I'm sure it'll get better as it goes on. So where do I begin from here? Okay. Recent news. We've seen this about in the UK, Downing Street parties. You're in the last chance saloon. Boris Johnson is warned. And there's loads of stuff coming out now. So at the same time, isn't it a coincidence that at the same time you've got all the stories about Prince Andrew being stripped of his honours, at the same time you're getting this, they're exposing Boris Johnson, Alexander de Pfeffel. It's all, you all need to understand this. This is all planned. You know, this is all, there's a reason why they're doing this. And lots of people are going to fall for this as well. They're going to think, oh, this is so great. You know, Boris Johnson's resigning. They think it's all good. But like I said in my post on YouTube, don't get too comfortable, because this could be the beginning of the end when I say this, because this could be leading to something else. Now, I'm not saying it definitely will. However, I will say that it's a possibility. And what I'm about to say is quite crazy. You know, some of the stuff I'm going to talk about in this is insane. And by the end of this, you're going to think, some of you may think, what the fuck? But it's generally what I think the direction it's going in. Now, I said last year, I'll show you now. So yeah, last year I did a video on, it's called Replacing All Governments Around the World. So I did this video, and what I explained was this. You've got to ask yourself, why is the world like it is? And of course, we know the world is a deceitful place, like I've just said in my previous videos and many other videos. Everything is a lie, you know. And I think, well, most things are a lie. And I think when even once. So here we go, guys. This bit is where it gets interesting. Yeah. They could use it. Hold on, I'm just going to show you now. So listen to this, because this is actually what I said last year. I think this was 6 months ago in 2021 on June. They could use this exposing the government, exposing the Jews and the Zionists and all this to bring in their new agenda. So they expose it in their term to bring in a new government, a new system that's even worse than this system. So we've got to be careful how it's played. You know, we've got to be careful, because they are playing so many mind games. So we've got to have all these different scenarios, and we've got to think outside the box, because we can see it's been exposed. The media want it to be exposed. They really are putting a bad light on the government and the politics. They're doing that deliberately, guys. Think about why they're doing that. Think about where it's going. I'll just point that out. All right, thanks, guys. Oh yeah, and about the video. Sorry about that, guys. So there you go. I said last year that there's going to be a reason why they're going to expose the government, and it's to bring in something else, a new government, a new system. So they're going to deliberately expose all the governments around all over the world. That's what I said. And I actually mentioned the British government. They're deliberately exposing. So first it was Matt Hancock. Now it's Boris Johnson. I think what they want to do, they want to show how corrupt the British government is, or make it out like the British government, which is, the system's corrupt. But what I mean is they're trying to make out like the government's corrupt, so they can replace it with something even worse and more tyrannical. So when I say that, when I say that don't get too comfortable if Boris Johnson resigns, I mean it. They're going to bring in something else. They could bring someone from the World Economic Forum, the United Nations, and I'm going to have it. This is my idea on what could happen, guys. So yeah, I'm going to talk about that now. So with that saying in 2021, and now they're exposing Boris Johnson, giving Tony Blair a knighthood, right? You've got to ask, why did they do that? So is it that to kind of get people to stop believing in the royal family, stop having faith in the royal family by them giving people like Chris Whitty and Tony Blair a knighthood? Is that to piss off the public so that they have less faith in the royal family? Well, at the same time, a few days later, exposing Boris Johnson and the government and the rest of the government, saying that they had a party on Prince Philip's funeral, stuff like that. You've got the stuff coming out about Prince Andrew. There's a reason why all this is coming. They want all this to be exposed because they want to change it. They want to change the system and bring in a new police state, a new world order. That is their plan. That is what I believe is happening right now. So that's my first idea of what's happening. Now I'm going to move on to my second idea of how they're going to bring in this new world order. So, not that. When you got stuff like this, Sir Keir Starmer raises the stakes in battle over Boris Johnson's future, a new wine time claims. And it's also, they love their symbology, don't they? And there's all sorts of stuff coming out. And I think what could happen is they probably want to, and I'm not saying it will happen, but you look at what's gone on in Kazakhstan. Now, look at this. So here it goes, guys. Independence Day 2021. Did you know that these countries don't have an Independence Day? These are the only countries. So, I found this interesting. There's only a few. Oh, wait, it's not that one, is it? Hold on a minute, guys. This is it. So, a surprising map of the world's national holidays. Only 2 countries have no national day. So, what countries are these? So, look at this map here. We've only got revolution on unification related national day in blue. So, all the countries in blue have had revolutions. Green, which is another kind of revolution day, independence related national day. So, all these countries are green. And then you've got other basis for National Day, which is in yellow. So it's a little less of a revolution. And then you've got no National Day. And there's only 2 countries in the world with no National Day. And that's the UK and Denmark. Quite interesting. Yes, most of the world was shaped by colonialism. It is amazing how much of the map is green, indicating that the country celebrates National Independence Day every year. Now, you're going to see where I'm going with this, guys. Not all of these are marked the end of colonialism, For example, Austria signifies the withdrawal of foreign militaries after World War II, and then a declaration of neurology. But the vast majority do, and even a number of blue countries such as Australia and Canada are actually the product of colonialism across the British Empire. Think about that. In the most of the world, a sense of national identity is shaped by an act of cutting, or in some cases violently throwing off the chains of colonialism. Maybe that could give us some hint of why some frequent foreign sensitivities and accusations, right or wrong, about Western foreign policies and hints of colonial powers. So we're going to go down here. It says most other countries are shaped by relative recent revolutions. So most countries do have had revolutions. So look at this. Britain and Denmark have no national day. To paraphrase one of the commenters on Reddit thread, is ironic that British Empire, that is indirectly responsible for many of the world's independence days, have no real national day of its own. Britain, after all, developed its political institutions pretty gradually, so there are no real Bastille Day moments that define the modern nation, and the empire has been pretty consistently breaking apart over the last half of the century. So we're going to continue down. Okay, so yeah, you get the picture. So basically, there's never been a revolution in the UK. Never been a proper revolution in the UK. It's been a gradual thing. So my idea now, guys, is what if the UK is going to experience its first controlled revolution within the next couple of years, even as early as this year? Because they are really going in, the British media is going in and really exposing the British government and the royal family. And you've got to ask why they're doing this. There is an agenda behind this and where it's going to. They're not just exposing Prince Andrew for the sake of it. They could just get... There's so many paedophiles in these big corporations. They could expose so many, but they decide to expose a member of the royal family. You've got to ask why they're doing that. You've got to ask why Tony Blair got a knighthood, why they reported that. You've got to ask why now they're exposing the government like they are about all these parties, to getting the public really pissed off, and where it's going. Is this government, are they going to expose the whole of this government, the British royal family, the British institution altogether, and replace it with something more tyrannical, bringing a new world order police state, a communist dictatorship, a new era of a dictatorship of the UK? And that could be the start. Other countries could follow. But there's never been a revolution in the UK. And when you think, and when you actually look, that I didn't know if you know this, guys, but there's, now I don't know exactly where they are, but there are mind control tactics organisations in London that work on how to manipulate the human mind. There's loads of organisations around London that do that. They have, I can't remember what it is, but they have, yeah, it's crazy. So what if one of the process of heading towards this police state, this new world order, that this police state, right, you've got to think, right, I'll show you now, again. Sorry guys, it's really early in the morning. Now, we know George Orwell, 1984 and Brave New World. Both show a concept of the New World Order and where they want to take people, where they want to take this world, where they want to take everyone in the future and bring them into this police state, this New World Order. And where where are these two stories set? They're both set in the UK. They both show what it is like to live in a dictatorship that's completely controlled, completely surveillanced. And they are both set in the UK. 1984 shows the UK becoming a communist dictatorship. Brave New World is set in New London, which is the UK. So the UK is going to be, I think, still a significant location in this New World Order. It might be the start of the New World Order. I'm going to go further into it, into a later one. V for Vendetta, which has a lot of predictive programming to what is actually taking place right now, what took place in 2020. It shows the UK being a communist dictatorship where everything's controlled. You're everything. You're the way you can't. You've no freedom of speech anymore. Complete surveillance, and it's set in the UK. So it shows what Britain being a communist dictatorship again. So you've got three main films there. What people have actually talked about a lot during this time period. In this last 2 years, have talked about these three prominent films, all set in the UK. So is this predicted programming for the UK to become a dictatorship very soon? And it's fast showing. So what I think is going to happen is they're going to expose the UK government. They're going to expose the British royal family. They're going to basically get rid of the UK's government and eventually the British royal family, and then bring in this new republic dictatorship in. And that will be the end game, the start of the end game for this country. And of course it will spread out to the world. I mean, even other countries might have their own revolutions as well. Of course, what we're seeing in Kazakhstan, that's the start. But I'm just showing what could go on in the UK. And of course in the United States, I think they're at the edge of having a civil war. I mean, they're basically, at the moment, the food and the amount of food shortages and hyperinflations and all sorts like that they're reporting in the United States, and it's now coming to light, which it wasn't, which we've said there's going to be food shortages in the future. It's going to really affect the United States. They were paying people to kill all the crops in the United States, for example, and there are now some shortages of shelves in the United States. Shelf shortages. There's not enough food on some of the shelves in the US, and it's becoming more common, and it will come more common this year. That could lead to all sorts of stuff, people fighting over food, people fighting to get into stores, all sorts. It could cause chaos that could lead to eventually a civil war. As crazy as that sounds, it could lead to a civil war, and that will be the start of the destruction of the US. I mean, they could end up, it's you see, the thing is, these are all planned. These civil wars and these revolutions are all planned. You need to understand that they have agents in to start all this chaos. For example, say if in the future they report that the British government's getting really pissed off with the British people are getting pissed off with the British government and the royal family, that they end up setting fire to Big Ben. That'll be interesting, won't it? The Houses of Parliament. And these people are psychopaths. They could destroy the Houses of Parliament altogether, get rid of it. Maybe leave the Big Ben, where the Ben stone's supposed to be, which is a really important stone. They could destroy landmarks. We've seen London has fallen. They destroyed all the landmarks. A lot of the major landmarks were destroyed. That predicted programming. But I think something big is coming to the UK. I really do. I think there's something this year in the UK is going to happen. But that's where it's leading to. And of course, when we have, if say for example, the UK does, they're exposing all the British government and the royal family to the point where people have had enough, and then they will push for violence on the streets, and then people will join in and create a civil war, and then all chaos lets loose, order out of chaos. You hear that saying, order out of chaos. And then they cause chaos in the UK, and then they need order and police state, and then of course lots of people have been killed or whatever in the streets because of that. And then what could happen is they'll use that as an excuse to bring in order and police in a police state. Give all the police guns, you know, more surveillance, more control, because we don't want to have this civil war again. And then from that, it becomes a communist, it becomes a socialist, or whatever, not a socialist, but a dictatorship. I'm not even going to say communist. Communist is a wrong word to use. It's not even a communist. I mean, it's a communist. Every country anyway, it don't matter what country you're in. Pretty much every country, every rich country, should I say, or developed country is communist, because they're not really, it's an illusion. Voting's just an illusion. That's what I believe. Voting's an illusion. I don't think there's many countries left where voting actually counts. I think it's planned. The history's already written, and this is the ongoing narrative. This is the ongoing narrative. It's an ongoing planned event that's planned way in advance. I mean, so all of Boris Johnson, the media, Keir Starmer, all of them, they're all in on it. They're all in on this agenda. They're all in on this story. They're playing their part, pretending like making out like the media's exposing the government. Yeah, fucking right. Yeah, right. Really. If they can expose this, why can't they expose this complete hoax, this fraud that's gone on for the nearly last 2 years? Why can't they expose that? There's a reason why they're exposing it, and it's just what I've said. So yeah, that's how they're going to achieve their New World Order. Now, what do I think will be the New World Order? What do I think it will be like to live in the New World Order? I'm going to give you my guess. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of a show called Black Mirror. It's a British show. It's on Netflix. Now, I've seen pretty much every single episode of Black Mirror. And I even sent an email to say I do not consent, or I do not accept any predictive programming that you will release on me. I reject any predictive programming that you want to put on us in the future. So I even said that to him. It was a while back. I think it was about 3 years ago, before I had this YouTube channel. I sent it. But yeah, I remember that. So yeah, there's this show, Black Mirror. So I think the New World Order is based a lot on this show. This show has so much predictive programming, like anything I've seen. Seriously, I really do think this is probably the show with the most predictive programming about the New World Order. Of course, you've got many others. Years and Years is another TV show that predicts so much. So I'm going to go through some of the most the episodes that stand out the most. So first of all, okay, Waldo. Now this one, the creator said that it was based on Boris Johnson. Waldo eventually becoming Prime Minister and then taking over the world, right? That was based on it. Now, he based it on Boris Johnson before Boris Johnson became Prime Minister. So he based his cartoon character on Boris Johnson. Yeah, predictive programming there, but not the main one. Black Museum. Now, this one, this one's about is they have it's one of the weirdest things you could see. Basically, they can upload people to the cloud. They can download people's consciousness and put them into a computer, and then they can basically torture them in the computer. So the computer cookie thinks that it's real when it isn't. It thinks it's real. It thinks he exists when it's actually a cookie. It's a really weird show. But yeah, they probably have the technology to do that, and that could be part of the future. That could be a torture method. So, for example, they could get someone's consciousness, put it into the cloud, into a virtual prison, and then that consciousness, that virtual cookie inside thinks it's a real person, thinks it's the same person that lived outside. So I don't know how to explain it. It's very weird. So basically, a man's done something wrong. A man or a woman's done something wrong. They put this round circle on thing on their head, this piece of software, and it downloads that person's consciousness, and that person's consciousness gets transferred into this computer, into this cloud, and that person's consciousness is in that cloud, but that consciousness in the cloud thinks is that person, and then they torture that consciousness, and that consciousness thinks he exists, he's real, he thinks he's real, he can feel, he can remember who he was outside, but he's trapped inside that computer, and they torture him. It's the technology like that. I think that's stuff to come as well, as crazy as that sounds. Interesting one about having a camera in her eyes, brain, and the mum can see everything that she looks at on an iPod. Proper transhuman stuff in this. When was it? The Black Museum one. People trapped in a digital world trope wearing thin, still who can't forget the gleeful existence or horror of monkey needs a hog. Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to read that one because I couldn't explain it the best. Men Against Fire, this is an interesting one. So they have chips implanted into their brain that makes them see stuff that other people can't see. And basically the military is using these. Basically, I suppose the government is using these military men and women, using them and making them see things that are not there to fight and kill people. And they basically see people as monsters because there's an implant in his head that makes him see people that are monsters when they're just ordinary people. And basically the military gets these army men and women to kill the local people, and they think they're monsters when they're actually just local people. So when they see local people, they just see monsters. It's in a crazy episode. I don't know where they're going with that. We know that all this is predictive programming. Again, another one. Everything that came before this episode from this point forward is recommended viewing Gallus. In Crocodile, executive Andrea Riseborough spirals deeper and deeper into the murderous pit while trying to cover up a secret from her past while insurance investigation. Using tech innovations to solve crime that Alfred Hitchcock would love, they find crafted yet one of the show's most agonising episodes. So basically, she has this chip on her head, and everything she remembers shows up on a screen. So everything she's seen and remembered shows up on a screen, and the police can see what she's seen and what she's remembered, everything in her brain. It's insane. I'm not going to get much into that one. Playtest, again about virtual reality, striking vipers, another virtual reality one like the metaverse. I'm going to get to the one that's basically the New World Order. That was a creepy one, that one. Okay, yeah. This is the New World Order. This one. Nosedive. This is based, and I think this came out before the social credit system came out in China. This is what I think the New World Order will be like. Completely controlled. So you're rated on everything you do. It's basically what's going on in China. And what I found interesting about this episode, and if anyone's seen it, I'm going to tell you about this one. What I noticed interesting about this episode was that everything was clean. Everything was clean, tidy, and it was like a post-pandemic, futuristic era. It looked like it is a post-pandemic era. So yeah, successful shift into a comedy. This one freaked me out because it's so real. I can see where this is going. This is basically the New World Order. I tried posting a video up, but they took it down due to copyright strike. This social media spoof takes online reviews to the ultimate desperate extreme. And everyone's rated on everything they do. Let me try and find it. I want to go back to that one. Let's go more into this one, this episode here. So this will get a better explanation of what I think the New World Order will be like. So Nosedive is the first episode of the first series of the British science anthology series Black Mirror. It premiered on Netflix on October the 21st, 2016. Okay, so when did the social credit system in China start coming out? Hold on, let me have a look. Okay, so this program initiated regional trials in 2019 before launching a national pilot with 8 credit score firms in 2014. So this actually came out before Black Mirror. However, there's a reason why they're showing this, because it's predictive programming. They want to bring out this social credit system into the Western countries. So it premiered in 2016 alongside the rest of the third series. The episode is set in a world where people can rate each other from 1 to 5 stars for every interaction they have. Everything you do is judged by everyone else, and they judge you and give you a rating of 1 to 5 stars, which can impact their social economic status. Lacey is a young woman overly obsessed with her ratings. She finds an opportunity to elevate her rating greatly and move into a more luxurious residence after being chosen by her popular childhood friend as the maid of honor for her wedding. Under Netflix, the episode was given a much larger... Oh, I'm not going to get into that crap. What else do we have? The tone of the episode is less bleak and more comedic than the other Black Mirror episodes. Yeah, let's make it comedic so people just won't, think it's nothing. Yeah. With an ending significantly more positive. It's not positive. Basically, in the end, she's in a prison. She's trapped. She's basically in a prison. Yeah, she's got arrested and she's in a prison. And she's the happiest she's been because she's not under this surveillance system anymore. She can say what she wants. In this show, everybody is controlled. They're all smiling, having fake smiles. They're not allowed to swear or anything, because if they do, they'll get rated very a low score and they won't be able to do anything. They won't be able to go into certain buildings. They won't be able to go to work. They might even be locked out of the house. That's the New World Order. That is part of the New World Order. So let's have a look at the plot. Society has embraced a technology wherein everyone shares their daily activities through eye implants and mobile devices and rates their, mark of the beast, and rates their interactions with others on scale of 1 to 5 stars, accumulating affecting everyone's social economic status. Lacey Pound, like the pound sign, seeks to raise her 4.2 rating to 4.5 for a discount on a luxury apartment. However, despite her attempts to be ongoing and pleasant, a rating has plateaued. Lacey talks to a consultant who suggests gaining favour from a very highly rated people. Lacey uploads a photograph of Mr. Rags, a ragdoll that she has had her childhood friend Naomi made together. Naomi, who is currently rated 4.8, rates the photos 5 stars and calls Lacey, saying that she is engaged and inviting Lacey to deliver a wedding speech at the Maid of Honor. Lacey agrees and commits on an apartment, anticipating many high ratings from the guests. On the day of her flight, several mishaps cause people to rate Lacey negatively, dropping her rating below 4.2. This is where it gets crazy. At the airport, her flight is cancelled and she cannot buy a seat on an alternative flight with her current rating. So you're not allowed to fly if you have a rating that's too low, because some people have rated you low. They've given you a 1 star because you've annoyed them. So you can't annoy people in this universe, in this world, in this type of world. in this new world order that they're creating. You can't say anything. I would probably get rated low now for just talking like this. I won't be allowed on a plane or anything. I won't probably be allowed into a shop from everything I'm saying now to get food. I mean, I don't know if they'll go that tyrannical, but it is possible, knowing what these psychopaths are capable of. When Lacey causes a scene, so this security guard penalises her by putting her on double damage and subtracting a full point of 24 hours. So basically, if someone rates her a 1 star, her rating goes down twice as much. If that makes sense. So she gets a lower rating quicker, so she won't be able to do anything. Because of her low rating, Lacey can only rent an older car to drive to the wedding, which she cannot recharge when it's out of power. She is forced to hitchhike with Susan, a truck driver with a rating of 1.4. Susan tells Lacey that she used to care about her rating until her late husband passed over a virtual cancer treatment because their scores were deemed to not high enough. So there you go, guys. Can you see this? Yeah, is this what you want in the future in your new world order? Cancer treatment. So her late husband, who was passed over for a vital cancer treatment because their score was deemed not high enough. She says she feels much freer without obsessing her ratings. The next day, Lacey is en route to the wedding. Naomi tells her not to come as her severely reduced rating will negatively impact Naomi's own rating. Now, Naomi is her best friend, but she told Lacey not to come because her social credit score was too low. Because, of course, what happened at the airport, she swore, she said the word fuck, and then people rated her down and she wasn't allowed to fly. And then she ends up in prison because her social credit score's too low. That's the ending. That's the New World Order. That's where it's going. That is exactly where it's going. The Chinese social credit score is the New World Order. It will control everyone's life. It will control everything about you. You won't be allowed to do anything. Everyone will be too scared to do something, say something, because they'll get a lower credit score and they won't be allowed to do anything. It will control people. It will control people to the point where they have to smile. They have to act a certain way. Everything they do in public, they have to be in a certain way. That's where it's going. That's part of the New World Order, of course, with other things. A complete police state, and you're completely surveillanced all the time. It will be a mix of this and the Utopia in 1984. It's a whole lot. It's all predictive programming. That's their end game. That's where it's going. That's that's the start of the end game, should I say? I mean, there'll be so much more, but that's my intake on it and in where it's going within very soon. This could literally be around the corner. This could be a year away. This could be 2 years away. No more, I don't think. I think that it's literally just around the corner. I mean, and I think with what they're doing now, exposing governments around the world, I think that's a start. I really do. I think they're doing that deliberately. So they created this CV agenda, and when you look in the eyes as well, they have these implants supposedly. But when you look in the eyes, it looks like they have some kind of hydrogel or some kind of graphene that's making them, because they're able to look. I'm going to show you a scene. I would show you a scene because, however, I don't want to get a copyright strike. But what I might do is turn the volume off and show you this one scene. And I will explain why I think there's graphene and other nanotech inside these people. And I think it's due to what people are having now, if you know what I mean. And I think they created this scenario of this scam that's been going on for 2 years to plan out government's reactions so they can expose the government and bring in their new replacement to governments all over the world. And that will be start of the Agenda 2030 New World Order. Well, it's already playing out. I mean, you had Agenda 21. Agenda 21 was to get us into this, where we are now. Everyone's wearing masks. Everyone's taking this thing, you know. And that's the start of it. Lockdowns are the new normal now. Masks are the new normal. Everyone just wears them. They think nothing. It's lockdown. It's normal now. It's normal to lock down. It's normal to self-isolate. It's normal to work from home. It's normal to not leave your area. It's big. They've made it normal. That was by 2021. They wanted that to happen, and that's exactly what happened. Now they've got Agenda 2030 in place, and it's all this. Yeah. Now, I really hope they do not take this down or give me a copyright strike for this. I haven't got the volume up, but I'm going to show you what's going on. So, this is Black Mirror Nosedive, the one I told you about, the social credit system, and what the New World Order will be like. So, she's rating everyone there. Let's fast forward it a little bit. So yeah, there you go. She can see a social credit score. That's a social credit score. It's from 0 to 5. Some people have a very low social credit score, and they can see. Everyone can see there. Everybody can. Bear in mind, everyone can see your social credit score as well. I'm just letting you that you know that. I'm just letting you know. Everyone can see your social credit score, so they can judge you on a social credit score. Yeah, we've got VR there. So we see now, look there, everybody can see each other's social credit score, and you're judged on your social credit score, of course. So if you have a very low social credit score, people aren't going to react. People are not going to interact with you. So, you know, to keep the social credit score up, sometimes you might have to do stuff you don't like that other people like to impress other people, you know, impress managers and all sorts of stuff like that. So yeah, you're completely controlled in this emotional mindset, this emotional prison. So I'm going to take you to the airport scene now if I can. Give me a sec, guys. Just quickly, someone's put scary there. I'll put the link in the description so you can actually watch it, because it is definitely worth a watch. Like, of course, don't, you know, I don't know. I say definitely worth a watch. I mean, they put these things out, and of course, if you say nothing, you're giving your in their eyes, in their demented eyes, by watching stuff that they put out for you for the predictive programming. By you saying nothing is basically you giving your acceptance for them to do all this, and you need to maybe put a comment to say, I do not accept the predictive programming in this that you want to enforce on us, if you know what I mean. I don't know. Now, I don't think this is loading, but I'm going to show you on YouTube. But I'll put a link in the description if you want to watch this, but it's up to you. So it's not loading, but it says here, this episode has never been more relevant as we stay into the abyss of passports, which is the only OS update away from the dystopian nightmare of total control, the same as in place in China right now. So there's a scene where basically you can actually look up, and you don't even have to look at this gadget. You don't even have to look at that. You can just look through your eyes at other people's profiles. You can look at other people's profiles, basically. Everything's open to everyone. So everyone can see what you're about. Privacy's lost. And they can judge you on that. And they can rate you at a low score, even just for having a low score. You know what I mean? So you're trapped in this system. And yeah, I think that's exactly where it's going. So yeah, I'm going to show you the Nosedive airport scene anyway. So she goes up to the airport. And you can see here, hold on, I'll show you. You can see there that she comes up straight away. As she comes up there, she didn't even have to say her name or anything. It automatically, she can look at her profile because they all have implants in their brain or whatever. They all have graphene, and they can straight away detect the person's profile. They know the person's. Everyone knows the person's profile already as they just walk close to them because they're able to detect it. So straight away she walked up. Her details showed up because of what they have, the implant they have, whatever it is. Complete surveillance, like I said. Even your own mind is surveilled, your own life is surveilled, everything you do. Everyone can watch, everyone can see what you're doing. That's where it's going. And of course, everyone, she gets angry. A minute. She gets angry. She shows that her score is too low and she can't travel. So she gets angry, and then the people behind her rate her low, and then she gets a low score, so she can't fly anymore. And then the security guard comes. So they're both shouting at each other in a minute. And then the security guard comes and puts her on double damage, which basically means every time someone rates her low, they rate her low twice as much, so she gets a score that's too low. Sorry, I've got speech impediment, by the way, guys. That's an issue I've got, so sometimes my speech isn't always perfect. That's why I stutter a lot. It was worse when I was. So everyone's rating a low look now. It was worse when I was younger, but it has got better. Sometimes when I'm talking, my mind thinks faster than I actually talk, so I struggle to get my words out. I've always, it's speech problem. I've had it since I was a kid, but it's got better. So the security guard puts her on double damage, now down to 3.1. So the score was 4.5, I think it was. Now it's 3.1. So now she can't even travel on the plane. In fact, it restricts her to pretty much everything now. So yeah, that's where it's going. So that is my idea of the new world order, of what I think it will be and where it's going. And I think it is the passports that are a part of this social credit system that's been rolling out, this complete surveilled social credit system that's already in China. And I think how it's going to lead to all this complete surveillance, police state, dictatorship is through chaos. So something big is going to happen that's going to cause a lot of chaos all over the world. It could be civil wars in loads of countries all at once. And the United Nations or the World Economic Forum, they're going to plan for them to step in and bring in their new world order. So I think that's what's happening in the UK right now. I mean, it could be nothing, but it could lead to something much bigger. You've got to ask why they're exposing Boris Johnson, why they're exposing the British government, why they're exposing the royal family, why they give Tony Blair a Sir. They're deliberately pissing off the British public, or want to piss off the British public, so they can give an excuse to bring in agents to start a civil war or something like that creates chaos, causes chaos for this country, order out of chaos, so they need order. And that's where they bring in their new police state. And that could be the start of the end of what you thought was freedom, which it never was, but yeah. And then the new world order begins with all this stuff. I mean, and the cyber attack as well. There's going to be a cyber attack, of course. But yeah, I did say, didn't I, at the start, in my YouTube video 6 months ago, that they're going to expose the governments all over the world, and people are going to fall for it, thinking that this is a good thing, when it's not. They're deliberately doing it. They're doing it in their own terms. They want to deliberately expose governments, like I said 5 months ago, which I showed you at the start of this video. I said they're going to want to expose all the governments so they can bring in something much worse. This dirty bomb thing, I'll get into this in another video, I think, because I think this video is already a bit too long. But yeah, anyway, I'll leave it there, guys. Thanks for watching if you've made it this far, and yeah, I'll look forward to making the next video. And get ready, because yeah, as things continue to get more interesting, yeah, things are definitely going to get more interesting. So yeah, get prepared, guys, and I'll look forward to making the next video.